Whoa. We're back.
We are back once again with that beautiful countdown clock music that I always
Yeah.
forget to start until too late.
Yeah. That'd be some good hold music.
Yeah, it
Like you're on
would.
hold for something.
I want to wait. Well, of course, if you're listening on a phone over a phone line, then the quality is so bad. They got to
Yeah.
have some horrible music. But you're right. That was some decent sounding headphones or speakers. That's a pretty cool jam right there. That's got me
Yeah.
relaxing.
Yeah. Just feeling it, man. Feeling the flow.
Kind of maxing and relaxing. So what's going on with everybody out there in the YouTube land and the Facebook world? What you guys up to this week? It is Wednesday. We're halfway through the week.
Yeah. This is I've coined it Kicker Week. Kicker's
This is
taking up a lot of space this week.
Definitely Kicker Week. As you can see below, we've got a little banner going on about the Unmasked Live event on October 23rd, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, and that would be 3 p.m. Pacific. Is that right?
Yeah.
So they've got
they forced Kip told me I had to wear this shirt or he's gonna punch me.
Yeah, I got mine on too, even though I can't. There we go.
Yeah.
So just so everybody knows and set the level, the field level, playing field, whatever you want to say. Rob and I aren't like working for Kicker. This is not we're Kicker employees or anything. We're literally doing a collaboration with them. So, and the way we see it is, this helps our channel because of all the extra eyeballs we'll get, and it's also going to help them kind of get some traffic from our side too. So this is one of those things where it's kind of good for both people. But we're not Kicker employees by any means. Just wanted to make sure everybody kind of understood that.
A little quid pro quo.
Exactly. We got to be real with the peeps. Let them know what's up. Even though we are confessed Kicker fanboys.
Yeah.
What can you say? We have been since like 1992 or whenever, way back.
Well, I shared a picture, 2000. That was like one of my very last competitions.
That was a cool pick.
And I was running
148.8.
Yeah, not bad for a single 12, huh?
No. How hot was that mic?
It was actually decent. I've actually done on that, on a hot mic, I've done 150.6 with that.
Wow.
But I couldn't find the little plaque that I had for that one.
Man, you kicking it.
Yeah, man. I used to be loud. Now I can't even get that loud with 4 or 5 subs. So.
You don't want to be that loud. Neither do I. It's different than us than the everyday audios. They like to break their cars. We just prefer to, rattle them a little bit, maybe on the inside. Find the places where we can make them quieter.
My car's too hard to find parts for now.
Yeah.
So to break anything, I can't.
We don't want to kill the cars. Let them live. So, we had this idea. Actually, we didn't have the idea. We literally stole this idea from Dean from 5 Star Car Stereo, because he talked about it last week when we met with him. He's like, hey, I'm going to do this watch party for my Kicker video or Kicker movie. Sorry.
Yeah.
I said video, and I get corrected every time I say it.
Put some respect on his name.
It is an hour and 20 minutes long or something?
Yeah.
It's long, but it's awesome, especially if you're into audio at all. You got to make sure you check that video out because he gives the full tour and everything. So what I figured that we would do is we would go back and use the video that I created while we were at Kicker headquarters. Mine's only 15 minutes long. So we'll go through it real quick. And what we'll do is kind of give you like the what do you call it on the DVD when you have the extra features? The commentary track.
Yeah.
So we're going to do like a live commentary track. We're going to play it back, and then we run into something that needs a little bit more explanation. We'll do that. And then you guys may want to stick around because we might talk about some other stuff that's not Kicker related after that.
Yeah. And I'm pulling it up now, so we'll know exactly where to read.
All right. You do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, and we're getting ready to start this thing up. Get it going. And I have received permission from that Big D Wiz character that we can share this. So,
did you ask Dick Riculous?
And I didn't ask him, but
I heard he's the puppet master.
I think we're good.
I heard he's the puppet master.
All right, let's go ahead and get this party started.
Jeez.
All right, so right there at the beginning, that's what we call the hook. Try to do this on your videos. Try to get people interested. Did you guys notice the glass, the front of the building was shaking? I mean, if you didn't notice, I'll go back a little bit so you can see it. I mean, that was thick glass too, right, Rob?
Yeah, for sure. That was the side rail glass. That was even.
Yeah, this was inside the building here, what you're looking at with the yellow car behind it. The other shot I shot was the actual front pane glass of the building, and it was flexing that. We'll show more of that later on in the video. I just wanted to kind of let you guys don't get shut down.
Yeah,
We're not showing a real movie. Well, we're showing a video that I have full rights for, so let's keep going. Now this is actually me.
Look at that blonde hair. Beautiful, luscious hair.
Look at that green. That was a Horror Sport, 1986. All right, here we come down the road. We're getting close to the kick. Following the kick, going to the kick. Just like you go into Wally World and the rides are open. Oh, look at this. Oh, I had a Camry. The Mecca.
Yeah.
We're here at the Kicker World headquarters. I'll go ahead and say this building, like, just the vision of how they did the layout of the building from the road and from the parking lot, it's just cool. I mean, it's the coolest building, but you'll notice this, see the glass on the front? That is where, and I'm pointing the wrong way, but that is where it was flexing, because that's where the museum is and that's where the huge wall is. But you'll see as we walk in some of the different features.
You got your golden ticket?
Hope so. Do we have our golden tickets, Kip?
That's what I am. I'm your golden ticket.
All right.
But it's, before we walk in, and we actually do a presentation, talk about stuff, at least I do, but Steve was a young guy, going to college, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out just life. Why am I here? What am I doing? I can't learn anymore and everything else. He, among a lot of things he came across, but he found Christ. And he is a full Christian through and through. And he believes in God, family, and company, in that order. And so when we go in, you see where he did brass right before he did this place. He wanted his sola de gloria, which means all glory to God. He truly believes that all of his success is attributed to his faith in Christ and him sharing it back with us. So
That's great. That's really great. I've never heard that before, but that raises the respect level even higher. All right, guys, here we're entering Kicker World headquarters in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I'm going to do my best to walk you guys through a tour here at the facility. They do give these tours. You can give them a call if you're anywhere near Stillwater, Oklahoma, and check it out. I highly recommend it. Let's see what's going on.
The wall display was cool.
Yeah, the wall display was cool. But the other thing to realize, too, is right now during COVID, they're not allowing people in for the tours. So don't call them now trying to get a tour. Just enjoy this one and go watch the one that Dean made. And Dean's does a much more detailed job of giving you behind the scenes. Mine is a very brief overview. But yeah, I think anybody who's in this area near Stillwater, Oklahoma, once they open it back up, you need to go, especially the guys that, Kicker is a Walmart company or whatever. This really puts a whole new perspective on how the company is, how dedicated the employees are and everything. So I think it goes without saying that it's definitely an experience. What do you think about that, Rob?
Unimus. About this.
It's the horse.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
Man, that thing's huge.
It doesn't say no touching. They did a really good job with the aesthetics.
Yeah.
What you think, Jay? I would say JDR approves, but yeah, as soon as you walk into this facility, it's just like the car stereo mecca. Subwoofers, amplifiers, all kind of cool stuff. Let's see about these subs on the wall.
But as you can see, these are actual L7 woofers that are hanging on the wall. mean, if you look real close, you can see the gray wire that's twisted around the guy wire in the back coming back.
Yeah.
And then there's a computer, it's an AMX computer that's been programmed with a relay bank, and it just basically sends out 12-volt DC pulses.
That's like half a hertz. So not only really cool aesthetics here, we also have some lessons. You can see how a speaker works, very cool. And then we have vehicles like this 1961 Ford Econoline pickup, 10,000 watt system, 600 horsepower, turbocharged V8, super, super sweet install. I'm going to show you some of the video here, and I'm going to show you the inside of it. Check it out. This thing is sweet.
Wait, you got inside this, didn't you?
No, we'll talk about that a little bit here in the video.
Yeah.
It had the steering wheel in the center, and it had two small jump seats on either side. You'll see that here in a minute. But I think what's really hard to capture by the video alone is just the detail that, I mean, the install of this vehicle is just unbelievable how much time it must have taken somebody to just do the stereo part, much less the paint, the engine, you know, the interior, everything else that was done. It's mind-blowing how detailed it is. This is probably I think this is my favorite vehicle there. Which was your favorite, Rob?
I'd like the little mini car that was up top on the topper or up by the desk.
Okay.
That was my favorite.
All right, let's keep going.
Center image right
Center.
You gotta look upside down.
Look, what?
Roof.
Oh, yeah. Wow, look at that. Holy moly guacamole.
It's on the headliner.
Look at that, Rob.
Oh, DVD player. That was very important.
Now, Rob, do you think you could fit beside me if I drove this?
Yeah, we fit in Exo's car.
and Jason?
Jason can ride.
Think we can all fit in there?
I think so.
I don't think I have any knee
Man,
room.
I sure wouldn't want to have a head-on collision with anybody.
Woo.
It'd be brief.
Yeah, it would. So we could have spent all day in the museum, but we did have a tour planned. First thing up was amplifier testing. John Myers had a setup here where he had a test bench, and he was showing us how he could compare unregulated versus regulated amplifiers, how voltage affects the power output, and also we got efficiency shown between older amps and newer amps and how much more efficient the newer amps are. So this is a really cool demo. I caught a lot of it on video, but it's just way too much to show you guys here, but it's really cool. And I think, Rob, I'll ask you what your favorite part of this was, but mine was to see the ability of the amplifier to play at low voltage. I think some of their higher end series have the regulated power supplies, and they can go down to like 9.5 volts or something before they shut off.
Yeah,
So,
they were basically trying to make them bulletproof, because especially the ones that are sold in Walmart, because they know those are going to get absolutely trashed.
Yep. Yeah, but he did multiple different voltage here. He showed us, the way that over the years the amps have gotten more efficient, and it's people, and I'm bad about this too, because I like old school stuff. I really like the design. I like how they look. I like the nostalgia. But when you're comparing the old to the new, there's so many advances over the years when the transistor design and, the architecture, and of course, most everything is Class D now, which is much more efficient. And there's still the debate out there whether sound quality, is discernible. It depends on your ears. If you can tell, then there is a difference. If you can't tell, then, buy whatever's most efficient. But this is a really neat. Everything was on a nice little roll around rack that he could do all this on. So we're trying to grab a few of these power supplies to take with us, but they wouldn't let us.
Yeah, they got all the nice goodies there.
They sure do.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. So you guys know I'm old school. Vintage speakers are on the top of my list. We got to see quite a few of the old kicker speakers here. Stillwater Designs is what it was called back in the 70s. And they actually started with Pro Sound equipment. As you can see here, this Pro Sound subwoofer. And here, I was just going to pause it just to ask the audience that's watching, how many people knew that Stillwater Designs started as a pro audio company and not a car audio company? Because I didn't know that before I went there. Did you know it, Rob?
No, I didn't know that either.
No,
I knew they made some pro audio. I didn't know that they started.
That
as
was
one.
literally the roots, and that's how Steve Irby. That's how they started. Is setting up live sound systems at venues and stuff. So that was really cool. In fact, if you keep watching, you'll see some of the home speakers that they have never seen before. But the other thing that was pretty interesting is you can imagine these speakers from the 1980s. A lot of them, especially the ones that had the passive radiators, the foam just completely rotted out completely. So they didn't have a lot of the really, really old ones because they even told us they're trying to get them, to look original with the original surround back on them. But I've seen people post stuff online that have had stuff that's still intact. So it's amazing that, there's people out there that actually have stuff that seems to be in better shape than even Kicker has that they've kept on display for all these years. But it's neat that they kept this because a lot of companies that have a history, they let all this stuff go away and they don't have it. So it's neat that they do have all this that you can go and see.
And some of it they had to pick up. They didn't keep it. They just had to go back and get it.
Some
Here is a monitor. We're going to get Steve Irby to tell us a little bit about it.
It's just oddball stuff. This was some stage monitors. We used to make those in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they fit on a mic stand.
In addition to Pro Sound, they also did home speakers, which these home towers are really cool. And who's ever seen these? These are designed to fit behind the couch. That's right. They got a passive radiator, a woofer, and a tweeter that's designed to shoot up from behind the couch.
And I had never heard of those speakers that were designed to fit behind the couch, even though they look just like the original kickers that went in the truck. But that was really neat to see that. And of course, here you see the gold letter subs, and that's what everybody always talks about. These are the best, the gold letters, because that's what a lot of us remember from back in the day. And at the time, they literally were some of the best speakers you could get, unless you're talking about the Rockford Pro Series, which at the time were pretty impressive too. But
that Mohawk too, man.
Yeah,
hanging out. Those were cool. A lot of people never even seen those.
A lot of people slept on them. And if you can see on the far left where you see the try to circle it here so you guys can see. I don't think you can see my mouse moving.
No, I can't.
But the box there has got those surface mount tweeters in it as well, and you can see one of them is out of the box. And that's the original logo that they still actually sell stickers with that logo. They sell, the bar stools. They have banners and all kind of other stuff with that original logo. So takes you way back to the 1970s.
1973.
73. Let's keep rolling.
And then we have everybody's favorite that likes old school kicker, the gold letter subs. Yes, they had these in the cabinet. Very nice, 15-inch, 18-inch, and more. Now, let's jump into the warehouse. Oh my God, this warehouse was enormous. I can't even put it into pictures how big it was. Let's go through a little bit of it and see what it's about. One of the sections here was returns, and this is all stuff that comes.
Now, some of you guys may notice here on the left side, we have a toaster oven. We have a laptop computer. I believe they had mini fridges and stuff like that too. Some of this stuff was actually returned to them as amplifiers or something. So they just keep this stuff. And I don't know what Dean talked about it more in his video because I don't remember them explaining this. Do you remember, Rob, them talking about that?
No, I don't remember that at all.
I don't either. But you can see all the returns. But it's something interesting that's going to come up about the returns here in a minute because you guys might say, wow, that's a lot of amps stacked up. They've got a lot of returns. They must have a lot of problems. Well, let's keep listening. We'll get more information about that.
It's back from retailers, and they said like 70% of what's returned, there's nothing wrong with it. So here's a kicker Warhorse. Oh, man, so much drool in this amp. I showed this on Instagram and got a massive feedback. Maybe we'll get one of these in. I can show it closer. I'm sure you guys will like to see that, right? You know it. The amp was here in the amplifier repair section, as well as some other cool stuff here. But we're going to let Kip tell us a little bit about the repair process.
So this is the picture that Dean talked about in his video. I don't know that he showed it. I think he was kind of on the opposite side of this.
Yeah.
But you can see that's a Solo X18 at the bottom, and I think those are 10s across the top, or are they 12s? Maybe 12s.
I think they're 12s, yeah.
Yeah, 12s. But this used to be kind of like their little demo center, and I guess they used to test a lot of amps and stuff here, but it got too loud for them in the repair center. So they actually have a separate room now where they take the amps after they're repaired and hook them up and make sure they work right and all that good stuff.
Yes.
And as I came in, I mean, as East was quite quick to point it out, but we really strive, if it's a warranty that's, you know, under 90 days, the dealer or consumer's getting it back immediately. It just gets an amp shipped out to them. But if it is a repair, then we will repair it under warranty, and our goal is to have it out in less than 72, and as East will tell you, it's usually less than 48 as far as our turnaround.
Unfortunately, this little wall here wasn't powered up, but you guys are going to see a more impressive wall coming up at the end of the video anyway. So let's continue the warehouse tour. Get to see all kind of cool kicker signs, including this really old one back from the early 80s. That's right, this is the original The Kicker logo. Here's me and Rob Vega from Hi-Fi Vega.
We literally tried to sneak this one out too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they wouldn't let us take it. But yeah, it's always funny, you know, when you're at a place like this and you're getting the kind of executive quote unquote tour, and I'm sure for them, like, we see this stuff every day, but to Rob and I, we zoomed into this, like, this is the coolest thing here. We gotta see, we gotta take a picture with it. And of course, we had to be careful with the front legs of the horse there. We didn't want to break them, because if you can tell the way the sign is, it won't stand up that way. We're having to hold it up.
And that's the first thing I was like, dude, can we touch this?
Yeah, they're like, you guys want to touch that? Like, yeah, we want to touch it. We want to take it with us. But yeah, it's just funny to see their reaction. They're kind of like, wow, we didn't think it was that cool, but glad you like it.
Holding up the sign. And here is the original Kicker speaker, $249. It was introduced back in 1980, 2 6.5s, a 10-inch passive, and 2 horn mids and tweets on the top. You can see Stillwater's vision here. Yep, that's impressive as always. And here's a section where they do installs. And this Polaris here is actually being built for SEMA, which I know SEMA's already come and gone by now, but you can see this really cool install bay. And they just have everything they need to do these top quality installs. Very cool. And some really cool work stools here. 73 Kicker. Then we got to move on to the Kicker tractor trailer. Let's get a little bit more about that.
This is actually in the middle of rebuild right now. Not this summer, but last summer/spring, we do an event up in Manhattan, Kansas called the Country Stampede. We're the title sponsor for it. And we actually got, it was either an F1 tornado or straight line winds. They didn't determine which it was, but we actually lost our awning. It did damage to the exterior of the truck. And so we had to gut the entire interior, because to replace the outside panels and stuff, you have to do it from the inside out.
Yeah.
So it'll be 24,000 watts on the bottom end in here. There's going to be those 11-inch marine cans. There'll be 6 of those across the top here. Ouch. For top end. When we bring people in here, we require you to wear hearing protection. We give you a set of earplugs. It's more of a visceral experience room.
Yeah.
When you play it at normal levels, it sounds fantastic in here. I mean, it's really a pretty cool rig.
Nice thick baffle.
Our tour.
That is the slight upgrade to the forthcoming quad box.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Continues on in the warehouse, and I've been in warehouses before. This warehouse is extremely efficient layout and design. Lots of stuff going on here, folks. And our buddy Jason was getting a personal tour by Steve Irby. Now let's move into testing some speakers. And yes, they test each speaker individually. Very impressive. Now let's move on to testing amplifiers. They use Audio Precision. And yeah, these are very impressive tools here. Cost between $25,000 and $50,000. Let's get Ethan to tell us a little bit about it.
Yep, 8.76. We're at 1% THD right now, and we're making over 900 watts right now.
Nice.
They also test subwoofers with a tool called the Clipple.
Wow, I know a lot of people are going to probably say, man, that amp test portion was way too short for you, Big D. And granted, we spent quite a bit of time in there. In fact, we probably spent more time in there than almost everywhere else. And Ethan was generous enough to go over a lot more data about how they do their testing and everything, and the signal to noise ratio and the frequency response and all the different things that they run using the audio precision. But if you watch, again, I'm going to send you over to Dean's video, 5-Star Car Stereo. He spends a lot more time in his video going over the same things, and I just didn't want to kind of do a repeat of what Dean had already done. But what did you think about the setup there, Rob, with the amps?
Yeah, that was cool. And they had they had several stations that they could test everything, and we've seen a lot of stuff and I recorded almost none of it. I did record some, but and you recorded what you could, but it was tough, man. It was tough to get enough video. We'd actually have to treat it like we're not doing the tour. We're just here for video.
Yeah, it definitely warrants a tour without a video and then a tour with one if you want to capture it. But again, I think Dean did such a great job that it was just hard to do that. But I still wanted to capture the experience for everybody else to see. But I think it turned out pretty well, especially when we get to the end. That's my favorite part.
Which is actually a laser that's connected into a computer. Let's let Kip tell us about it a little bit.
Your test or device under test completely still, and then that calibrated laser fires up against it, goes up in the interface box and ties to the computer, and all the different tests you see people put out on a clipple, we can analyze, look at anything of that here right in house. And a clipple's 25K. We have two of them.
How long does the test have to run?
Could be from minutes to hours.
Just depends on which one.
They also had a completely sound deadened sound room designed for critical listening. So this room is set up so that they can easily switch between multiple different types of speakers, setups, and see how they sound, compare everything. And here's also a different room.
So
That sound room, man.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to say about this room is you get kind of uncomfortable when you stay in here too long because it's so quiet.
Yeah.
They even tell you that, expect to be uncomfortable because you just, it's just like nothing.
It's
you've
like a
ever heard.
vacuum. It's like being in a vacuum. But that sound room, that's one that we didn't get to spend it. I wanted to spend most of my time there, but it was so late that we spent the least amount of time there. But that sound room was awesome.
Yeah, we were getting near the end of the day here, and of course I kind of did the video in the way that we visited Kicker.
Yeah.
So we went here, and I think next we're going to go up to the front, and that's when we get the full experience of the wall. But yeah, I mean, it's just you just have so much going on because you're getting so much information. It's such a cool experience, but then still, you just kind of get worn out with the way that it's like anything else. When you have so much excitement going on, your body's just like, wow, this is cool, this is cool, it's cool. And then like, wow, I'm worn out, man. But it was so cool. But we'll keep going here. Still got a couple more minutes
For in-depth testing. Now let's check the individual components of a speaker. Check this out.
And then these are all the different pressing processes that it goes through.
Oh, wow.
To walk through to the end, and then finally powder coat to make a stamped woofer basket. And it's one thing to see a woofer basket done, but this is all the different steps it has to go through to get there.
I mean, look at all, the pressing is all the different stages.
It's impressive.
You big dummy! Down.
But on bump. And like,
can't go without that, can we, Rob?
These people don't understand.
They don't understand my dad jokes.
They think you're doing this like as the Big D character. No, this is Derek. This is Derek all the time.
This is me. I'm like a conglomeration of Dick Riculus and Big D and Big Dummy all mixed together, but that's half the fun.
Yeah.
Spider, I mean, it just starts off as cotton cloth, and then it's treated, and then it's shaped and heated and formed, and then pressed and punched, and then tinsel leaves put into it. I mean, but it just starts off as a t-shirt.
What do you treat it with
It's,
to get it?
it's some kind of resin that's impregnated into the cloth.
All right, from left to right here in our tour, on the left is Jason, then we have Steve, and that's me, Big D. Then We have Hi-Fi Vega, and we also have Kip from Kicker. Now, next up, this is probably my favorite part of the tour. This is the wall. This is actually in the museum section of Kicker, kind of at the front of the building. And yeah, you can see here, check out all the square subs here. 16 15-inch subs. It's hard to understand how big this is, so it got me and Rob's big old head there to kind of give you an idea. But 23,000 watts for this whole setup. And again, they show some of the other subs here, like the Solo X's, the L5s and stuff here on the side, and some of the other different speaker components. But they have the line array of 16 6.5-inch and tweeters, and there's 16,000 watts on the subs, 4,000 watts on the mids, and about 3,000 on the tweeters. Let's see it.
All right, I was just going to pause it for just a minute because if you're hearing any distortion, it's just the microphone that can't handle the level. It was very clean. There wasn't any distortion. Even though the glass was shaking and things like that, some of the light cans up high were rattling. It didn't really affect the sound. I mean, it was just...
It's super intense.
It was intense, man.
We
It was
got
like
the-
the whole
we
room
got
was
the-
pressurized.
We got the Kip demo too.
Yeah, he
took
said
the
he turned it up a
regular
few notches higher than he does for the general public. And he's also said there's a lady that lives like a mile away that has complained before when he's cranked it up like this. So this was about what, 7 at night or so, maybe
Yeah,
6:37,
6, 7, somewhere in that area.
something like that. But yeah, this part, man, he really did give us an experience.
What an incredible day. And any distortion that you may have heard was just my microphone not being able to keep up with those subs. But I want to give Kicker a big shout out, big thanks for giving us a tour. Me, Jason, and Rob, they really hooked us up. Steve and Kip and Bill, everybody was awesome. Thank you so much for your time. We do greatly appreciate it. So the best way I can describe it is I walked in a Kicker fan, I left a Kicker fanatic. And that has to do with how the company was run all the way up to the top. Steve Irby, all the employees, everybody was just top notch. We just had a best day, and to see how a quality company is run is just very impressive. But if you want to see more, make sure you check out 5 Star Car Stereo's review of Kicker, and they go through a lot more in-depth detail than I did. Have a really good video. Check the link in the video description. But again, thanks everybody for watching. What an awesome day. Till next time, Big D, I'm out of here. All right, guys, so I know it's a bummer, but I can't play back any more of this music here because it was flagged for copyright, unfortunately, but just have to get a closer look at this awesome install in this Metro. Super clean, super sweet install here, and it sounded phenomenal. Sorry I can't let you hear any more, but hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Man, that car was so clean. That sounded there was what, 2 speakers and kick panels with tweets,
Yeah.
and then 2 subs, and that's it.
Yeah, it was extremely clean, and that song that they demoed sounded so good, and I let it play through, and of course the first time I uploaded the video it got copyright.
Yeah.
Not a copyright, but they flag you, kind of warning you that it's, a copyright thing, so it gives you a chance to pull it off. But a lot of people don't realize that when we make these videos, we're really limited in the music that we can put in the video. So cases like this, we get a demo with a car, we just can't play it back. But it's too bad. But hopefully that kind of gave you some of an experience of Kicker. There's so much more here that I didn't capture via video, but I tried to give it a very brief 15-minute overview of the experience. But I think Rob will agree it was pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, man. It was like I was on cloud nine all day. And the part that you don't get to see is like Steve Irby took the time with us. We knew he wanted to have lunch. Kip had told us that. And we're like, yeah, we'd love to. So we have lunch with him. Of course, I got to ask him questions about how everything started because that's just where I am. And then he comes back and he finishes the tour out with us, spends the rest of the day. And we were there from what time
It was like 9:30 or 10 all
Yeah.
the way until 7 or so.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like we ate breakfast before we got there. We ate lunch. By the time we were done, I was hungry. We were there all day.
Yeah, it was really cool. But, with all that said, and like Rob said, this is kind of the Kicker week. We do want to remind people, to check out Friday because this is kind of unprecedented for a company to maybe show the things they would normally show at a SEMA type event. There's no SEMA this year. There's also going to be no CES in January, but this is going to be an unprecedented event on Friday at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. They're going to go through and give some reviews of maybe some things that might come out next year. So it's definitely going to be a really cool thing, and I encourage you to come watch. They're giving away
Oh, they're
over
giving away
100
tons of
items.
stuff.
It's
Yeah.
a lot. They want us to remind you guys too that
Kip told us this about 70,000 times. So go ahead and tell him, D.
make sure you stay to the end, or you're wanting to stay to the end. So
Yeah.
they're playing little games along the way, and you have to get little clues, and you keep up with them. And if you get to the end and you have all the clues, then there's a chance that you can win something really, really nice, like a grand prize. So, we can't go to the movies these days. You can't really do a whole lot because most people are either on lockdown or they're just afraid to go out because of COVID. So what I would say is, if you got YouTube on your TV, this is a good time to fire it up Friday night, sit back with your popcorn or your dinner or whatever, your takeout, and just sit down and hang out with us. They're going to go through, for the first couple hours, they're going to go through all the product introductions that they're going to talk about. And then after that, they're bringing on a panel, which Rob and I are on the panel. EXO is on the panel. Dean and Fernando are on the panel. And then also
The guys from
Steve.
JY Power.
Steve from JY.
Yep.
So it's going to be a really cool group of people. We're going to have reactions because we don't know exactly what they're going to release.
Yeah.
We kind of did that on purpose so that it would be.
Yeah, we're the
know.
only ones that didn't sign the NDA.
That's right. We didn't sign nothing. So
No.
we're ready to see it with you guys to see what it is. So you
Yeah.
guys are going to feel the experience with us, and we're excited about it. And so anyway,
And I'll be in the comments on Friday as well. So I'll be kind of commenting with you guys as we go.
yeah, me too. We'll be there and kind of be shocked to see it with you as well. But yes, Kicker
All right,
products back in the day.
You tell your Kicker product story and I'll tell mine.
So, so I've got a Kicker Dream product that I never really owned, and I almost did because the sales guy pretty much sold me on it. It was 1992, I think. It was the first year that the Solar Barracks came out, and they were the gold letter Solar Barracks, the ones that had the red writing that said Solar Barrack. He had a 89 or a 90 Eclipse with a Punch 150 and two Solar Barrack 12s in sealed boxes, and they were tiny. 1 cubic foot per something is all they needed for the 12. It wasn't much. And he set me in his car, and this guy worked for a stereo store, but it was kind of a chain store. It's called Ed Kelly's. I don't know if many people have heard of that, but they weren't around very long, even in North Carolina. But anyway, I got in his car, and he played a few tracks, and I could not believe those were 12s. I'm like, man, those sound like 15s. They're so deep, so clear, and they were sealed. And on a Punch 150, that wasn't all that much power. And he told me they're $200 a piece. Do you want a couple of them? And I'm like, digging in my wallet. I'm like, yeah, I do, but I don't have that much. I got to save a little bit more. So I never went back and bought the Solar Barrick 12s because the place actually ended up closing down. But those are what I always wanted, those Solar Barrick 12s. I did own some other kicker equipment over the years. I've had several of their amps. Obviously, and ever since I started recollecting back in the mid 2000s, I got some more of the kicker equipment. I've always been impressed with everything that I've ever had that had their name on it. So I've never been unimpressed. How about you, Rob?
So a lot of people don't know this, but I have talked about many of these things. So one of my all-time favorite subwoofers is the Kicker XPL, the first edition of it. It had a ribbed accordion cone. The surround was normal. I love those, tied with the Rockford Fosgate Punch DVCs. I love both those equally. And I had, as far as amps, I didn't have much Kicker amps back in the day just because I couldn't afford them. And I was kind of an Orion fanboy as far as amps went back then. But what got me back into car audio, and I've told this story in here before, was the Kicker XS50 that I happened to buy on a whim online. Someone was selling it for like $50. This is back when old school was kind of cheap. And I was like, hey, I wonder if anyone's done a review of this on YouTube. Pop it up. I don't see the XS50, but I see Kicker ZR1000 and then some big dummy was doing a video about it on his washing machine. And I was like, oh man, who is this guy? Like, let me see what else he's doing over here. And then boom.
And there was probably like 70 other videos that you're like, what is this? Why is somebody doing all this stuff about this old car stereo stuff? And why are they using so much time, wasting so much time doing this? At that point, I probably literally already had 50 or 60 videos up when you saw that one.
Yeah, and I might have seen it pretty late too. I can't even remember. It was like 2012 or...
Okay, yeah, so I mainly started uploading around 2009. The channel started in 2006, but I just uploaded a couple of BMX videos back then when YouTube first started, and didn't really start my channel until about 2009. I think that's when I realized that you could get Punch 150s and Punch 45s off of eBay for like $50 and $60. I'm like, whoa, I'm gonna start using eBay. So I started buying a bunch of them. I was like, let me show people what I could find. And that was a bad idea. I should have got all my collection before I started doing that, because then the prices started going up.
They were still cheap. They were still cheap when I got it. And then I was like, then all of a sudden it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, and now I think most things run on like a 30-year cycle, because I know that's what the BMX bikes do.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you any guys are into BMX in the 80s or whatever, if you check out Haro and GT and I think even Redline, and Rob, I don't know if you know this, but they just announced today that they're probably going to re-release the RL22 freestyle bike. And they have a picture of the original guy that made it, Len Kasten, I think is his name. Yeah. And the original bike. Anyway, we're getting off subject a little bit, but yeah, things go in cycles, so about every 30 years. But yeah, what we notice is BMX bikes are crazy, man. Though, I mean, some of those things are going for thousands. I mean, like $4 or $5 grand for the original bikes from back in the day. So car audio, you know, a lot more car audio was sold than BMX bikes, but
yeah,
I still think there's the nostalgia factor and people wanting things kind of like we talked about earlier, things that you wanted back in the day that you see now. Oh, I can afford that. I want to buy it.
Yep. But we would not recommend it as an investment.
No. It's like buying an old car, right, Rob?
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to deal with the drawbacks. And which drawback number one is you put it in your car, try this amplifier that was made in 1990. Yeah. There's a good chance that you're going to have problems with it. It's going to have capacitors go bad. It's going to have, you know, transistors go bad, wiring internal, it'll have cold solder joints, all kind of crazy stuff. Yeah. So you have to be prepared to invest some money. If you're not going to do it yourself, you know, send it to somebody who can. You know, just give it a once over and look it over. But I mean, there's many people, Rob can attest to this, that got back into it because, oh, this is cool. I want this old school stuff. They buy several amps and then they have problems with all of them. They spend a lot of money because they're worth a lot of money, even the ones that don't work.
Yeah.
and then they spend a couple $100 getting them fixed, and then they still have problems with them. So it's, you just have to be prepared if you're going to do that.
Derek's just told us a personal story here.
No.
I know you've blown up 1 or 10 amps.
Oh, I've definitely done that. That's why I don't take in people's other amps, because that happens.
Or you could be like me and be like, oh man, this Earthquake 40 UHC, I gotta have this. Buy it for 200. Play with it, it blows up. Get it repaired for 300. And that's a deal to get it repaired for that much. Get it back, and then several months later, like, you know what? I'm gonna sell this amp because there's this other amp I want. And then you sell the amp for the 200 you originally bought it. It's like, oh well.
Yeah.
Charge it to the game.
It's it's part of the play, right? Just have to be prepared for it. So So what did you guys think about the kicker video? Was that cool? I enjoyed watching it. I haven't watched it in quite a while. I try not to go back and watch all my videos, but
yeah, that's probably a good policy.
It's fun. Well, sometimes you want to make sure everything is okay, but
yeah.
But anyway, so you guys hang out with us on Friday night if you can. It's gonna be a fun time. Rob and I will be there. Well, like you said, we'll be there during the product demos too, to chat it up with you guys too in the chat room.
Yeah, we kind of know what's going on, and I'll tell you that there's some fun things that, like, you're gonna be pumped.
Yep, I think so. I think a lot of this stuff's been rumored enough where people, it's kind of like the iPhone. They kind of know what it's going to be before it comes out, but still, it's going to be exciting. Because
do you think we could wheel those XPLs back into existence, the original ones?
I don't know,
or
Rob.
the gold letters.
And I need to put this in somebody's ear that might be watching, because I think I see Kip that he just made a comment here that said that they just finished up. 1973 and 2023 is 50 years. Bring us some gold letters back in 2023.
Yeah, and I'll paint myself like gold member and do a whole thing if they do it.
Yeah, I'll definitely do something fancy.
I love gold.
That's huge. I mean, that's not far away either.
Yeah.
At the rate that they have to do product development, they need to be working on that right now. So get with me, Kip. We'll work out something.
Yeah. We can, like, the hi-fi or the 12V Talk Edition gold.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there we go, man.
We're thinking ahead. So, So with all that said, and we're really looking forward to the thing coming out and hanging out Friday, we had some more news this week, Rob.
Yeah,
what is going on? What else is going on in the car audio world?
Let me share my screen here. You guys might know about this. I'm sure Big D shared this. Can you read what that says?
Distributor sued for false RMS
ratings. Well, did you expect it to be Rockville that gets hit with this? That's the first question I would like to ask you.
The thing I didn't expect it to be first was a speaker.
Yes.
Right?
And when you read through here, when you read the headline, you're thinking amps. Okay, we expect this. But then when you read the speakers, we know that the speakers, I mean, you've tested yourself, were overrated. But when you really start to dig down into it seems more like a warranty lawsuit than a actual lawsuit over ratings.
It
Did
sure
you get to
does.
read it?
Yeah, and I'm wondering if people actually really read this, or if they just kind of like, the news, and you read the headline and make all your assumptions based on that. Because I didn't really, give a lot of information in my post. I just said the start of something big, or, what do you guys think of this? And I think just based on the headline, they're like, oh, wow, this is about time they're doing this. And I'm kind of like, well, did you really read what this is? Because I think there's so many gray areas involved in this. I don't know that they've even got a case here, honestly.
No, it's much ado about nothing. But being us, like, when we see this, like, oh, yo, like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, we had, Jonathan Ivey commented about the amp ratings and talked about some of that too. So it's definitely something that's been on the radar for a while. And I know the companies like the Kickers and yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Gold letter 50 anniversary. You know it. The Kickers, the Rockfords, the MTXs, the companies that rate things realistically and honestly have got to be affected by these companies that kind of bloat their ratings. But you know, people complain a lot about Rockville, and I think Rob can attest. Of course, he's getting ready to do some more testing on a 12-inch K9.
Yeah.
Those are pretty freaking amazing subwoofers. As
They're
much as you may dislike the way the company handled this whole situation, which I kind of will agree with you with that, because don't go after EXO, number one. But you know, the way they handled it and all the flack they got for it was kind of deserved. But you know, for the price, man, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't watched my video and you watch it, and I kind of show you the tail of the tape, and we're kind of comparing these. If you look at the 5 subwoofers that I have in the shootout, the K9 is up. It's up there in specs wise, but specs don't always mean everything, and it can be inflated. So that's why I'm testing them in the next video. And it's just not going to be like a sound quality thing because I want actual data. But I have used all these subs in car, so I have an opinion on how they sound. But that's not really. We're here for the data on this one.
Yeah, so this I don't see this case going anywhere. It is interesting to think about, you know, what if it was amplifiers instead? I don't think it would be Rockville if it was amplifiers, because I mean, even they post so many different ratings of their
Yeah, they
amps.
got
It's like
Yeah.
they give you a real number, they give you a could be number, they give you a well, it ain't never gonna happen number, but at least they give you the real number in there.
Well, I remember like when I seen this, the first person that posted it was our dude Andy right here. I seen him post it, so then I'm in there. You know how I am. I'm with the gifts, man. That's how I do it. I go in there with the the meme of the little boy at the Popeyes, you know, kind of doing this, and I said, "Boss sitting here, you know, laying in the cut, just." And that kind of kicked off into a meme, so I thought that was pretty funny.
It was funny. I saw that one several times
Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you didn't hear other people complain, oh, this is going to ruin the inexpensive market for car audio. But again, I don't understand what the problem is with just being honest with, you know, whatever the numbers you're given. That way it's easy to compare things across the board. That way you don't see a, you know, 6,400 watt, I think is what it says in the article, speaker box compared to something that's truly 6,400 watts, which is going to be, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It's just not a good way to compare. And unfortunately, you always hear the argument, people say, well, people should know better. I'm like, not everybody is an expert in car audio, right? Some people just come in, they go on Amazon, you know, they read through the specs and then they pick their stuff out, right? So if these specs are inflated and they're not getting true, you know, accurate ways to compare the items, then how can you blame the consumer? It's not the consumer's fault. The consumer, in a lot of cases, may not be educated, and you can't say, well, it's just because they're not taking the time to do the research. They shouldn't have to in cases like this. It should be an equal way to compare things based on a certain standard, which there is none. So it's the Wild Wild West, and that's why the $50 brand, whatever you want to call it, amplifiers sell so well on Amazon, because they say they're 1,500 watts for $50. People are like, sure, that's all I need, 1,500 watts, $50. Why not?
Well, and the worst part is the Boss, what's it, the 4000 M or the 4000 K, that amp does like 1100 watts dynamic. If you sold that as 1,000 watt amp at $100, I think that amp's a good bargain. For $100, less than $100, it does 1,000 watts, and those amps are hard to kill. Derek showed it in video that they're hard to kill. Just rate it what it's supposed to be rated, and you'll get so much more respect.
Yep. I agree. So I don't know how everybody else feels about this or where it's going to go or if it's going to go anywhere. I just don't see this particular case going anywhere, but it could stir up some interest of people saying, well, hey, if they're going to talk about speakers, then what about some of the other things? And then, of course, my side of it is, and I don't care because I always created videos. In fact, one of the reasons I started doing, there's two reasons I started doing amplifiers. One, back in the day, is I wanted to see what these old amps that I could never afford back in the day did wattage wise, just out of curiosity. And then as I started doing more, then people started saying, well, what about Audio Pipe? What about Boss? What about, these other brands that are more of the inexpensive type? What do they really do? And that's when it became interesting at that point. And I'm kind of like, wow, there's a whole lot of these that are not putting out what the rated power that they say they do. And then so I kind of started a whole nother wave of, building a database of testing amplifiers and showing results of, lower numbers than what are expected. But then my whole point was, I'm not here to be a lawyer. I don't care about that. The only thing I want to do is put out the information. Then you as a consumer, even if you go to Amazon, if you just do a quick Google search for whatever the model is, and I did a video on it, then you can actually see the numbers. Again, the numbers don't tell you everything. I know that, and that is said over and over, and I agree with you. But my argument always is it should do at least what it says, or should do right at what it says. It shouldn't be some made up number, which in the case of a lot of the ones we test, they're that way.
Yeah, and it's like you automatically know if it says 4,000 watts, you're usually looking at 400 or 10% of whatever they say. And, that's kind of the transformation of old school stereo to Wilson audio when you started getting like, hey, when you got on that mission, like, hey, they're not doing what they say they're doing, or you find a gym like Audio Pipe and you're like, hey, actually, this is the cheapest amp you could get that does this amount of power, and then 10 amps and, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's just, the thing that Rob and I realized and some of the old school guys realize is, man, back in the day, you had a 1,000 watt amp, that was like $2,000. So unless you were super rich, you didn't have an amp that big. You had to figure out how to make a system with a 200 or 300 watt amp if you're lucky. Sometimes even less than that. So you're spending a lot more time and effort on your box design, getting things tuned just right to get the maximum efficiency out of that 200 watts. So nowadays, y'all can just throw power. I mean, power is so cheap, you can just put as much as you want into a system and not really have to be as concerned with some of the other things. But that's the main difference. We had to be really, really, I was going to say curious, but that's not the right word. We had to be, very careful with the setup to make sure that we could maximize the system that we could afford. Because nowadays you can just get so much more for your money, but it's just a difference in times.
Oh yeah, and we usually stick to the numbers because, like we said with competitions, the reason we like SPL is because it's quantifiable. SQ is very subjective, and we know that. And I show demos just so you guys can hear it, and I tell you my opinion. You can't always get that through the video because it's compressed, and we know all this stuff. But I do things sometimes because people like it, and sometimes I want to do some kind of sound demo, whether it be subs. It doesn't sound the same. You'll never feel a sub, but the numbers. That's the one thing that we know we can show for sure on everything is the numbers.
That's right, and it's a way to compare. But again, if you're thinking about watts versus decibel watts and things like that, a 1,000 watt response or measurement versus a 1,100 watt measurement, you're not going to be able to tell the difference in a 100 watt. You need a lot more difference in power to be able to hear that. But again, my whole thing is just meet the numbers that it says it's going to do and let people know. But it's not always a more is better. But I'm like Rob, there's just no way to quantify all these different things that you're given as far as specs go, because they've never really been able to correlate, running all these different tests from an AP equals better sound quality, because again, it's subjective. You can say it should scientifically sound better because it has a higher signal to noise ratio, it has a higher damping factor, it has all these parts of the equation that should equal a better amplifier. But in the end, if you're just trying to slap some 12s in the back of your car and make them flap, I don't know. It's the old argument of the Ford versus the Chevy, which one's better and which one do you really need? And I don't know. It's everybody's got their own opinion. We're just out here trying to provide the data. You guys can make up your mind what you want.
Yeah, for sure. Tom says he wanted the VLX 400 so bad. All I could do is manage a VLX 50 and miss 2 car payments, all for 145 dB.
And yeah, Tom, so how much did that VLX 50 cost? That was still
that was like
$800 amp. Yeah.
And that was cheap. That was cheap comparably to other amps out there at the time.
Yeah, I remember back in the late 80s or early 90s, the Ryan 250 HCCA was $900, and that's 50 watts by 2.
Yeah.
The Punch 150 was about $350. That was 75 by 2.
Yeah.
Alpha Sonic had the best deal back then. They had the 2 by 100 for like $229 or $249. And that's the one I ended up getting, the very first amp. But they were rated pretty honestly.
Yeah.
But if you realize that the Rockfords and the Kickers and some of the other ones were so underrated, that you're really getting more. But again, we didn't have an amp dyno. We didn't have anybody doing what you and I are doing these days that we could have really known, and that would have been really cool back then.
I'll tell you what, man. It's like when you got a Orion 225 and you get smoked by an XS50, and you're like, he's doing something else, and then you realize like, oh wait, the 225 actually only does what it says. The 250 doesn't even do what it says. The 2100 doesn't. You don't know how bad that hurt me when Orion. I knew it though. I knew it. They weren't doing the power.
Yeah, that XS50 is it's like a ZR600, but the high current version. So it's about a 600 watt amp versus the 225 HCCA is about 350 to 400 if you're lucky at a low impedance. But it's fun, to look back and think about the things we were able to do with those small amps. But man, if we could have had an amp dyno or some way to do the testing back then, because they still had audio precision. They still had some other equipment that they used for testing amplifiers, but it was so few. You guys complain nowadays, oh, Big D, you haven't tested a blah, blah, blah version, from 1985. I'm like, dude, I could test an amp or 2 a day for every day until the day I die, and I won't be able to test all the amps that are out there or the ones that were ever made. So...
A side tangent from that is a lot of people want amps tested that have already, like this amp line here and everything's been tested, just not this model. It's like, man.
Unfortunately, there is something to that now that we've seen with the SoundStream, the recent SoundStreams.
Yeah.
The first model I tested, the monoblock, did its rated power. Then the 4-channel was a flop. So... I've always said the same thing as you. I'm like, I don't want to buy multiples or even test multiples in the same line, because once you get an idea, then that should stay constant. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Blue Thunder 10s, Audison 50 by 2.
Wow.
Yeah, the Audison stuff,
yeah,
they were always super high end, very expensive.
I didn't know about them until almost the end of my career.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't know. Again, I fell out of car audio in the mid 90s when DVDs started coming out, and I don't know how many people were around for that, but there was a big to do about surround sound and home theater and DVDs, and Paramount didn't want to do DVDs for some reason, and they were the ones that had a lot of the good movies. And then once DVDs kind of started hitting it, man, I was gone. I wanted to do home theater stuff Of course, I use my Blue Thunder 10s in my home theater as my subs, but I dropped out of car audio for a long time, but I never really lost the love for it. But finished my system in Sunday 176. Whew,
Oh, we're trying to break some records.
no doubt, killing it. US amps,
200.
USA 200.
Was
to
that the
RF.
original? Was that the smaller ones, the 200? I had the 50, not the HC, just the regular 50, 25 watts by 2.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
had
So
like,
the
it had like 2
USA
wires on
ones,
the coil.
yeah, they were the regular, not the high current ones. They were the ones that were just the 4 ohms mono,
Yeah.
2 ohm stereo kind of deal.
And it had like one piece of 18 gauge wire wrapped around it twice around the door.
Yeah. Not much in there. A lot of empty space on the board.
Yeah, I remember that for sure.
Well, cool. We have, gosh, we've gone over the hour already. It was fun to go back through that video. Hope you guys enjoyed looking back through that. Did we hit up all? I know we had a bunch of super chats come in.
Yeah, I didn't write one of them down, man.
I didn't either, and I think
Slacking.
we might have missed a few at the beginning. So our apologies, guys, and we do appreciate you hitting us up with the super chats. That's awesome. Thank you for that. And we are going to we'll sign off here for the podcast, but we'll hang around with you guys for a little bit and do some after chats if you want. Oh, Adam, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for when you guys say that. That really means a lot to me, honestly, because I've always said before, I do the stuff that I do because I enjoy doing it as a hobby. Obviously, it's turned into a little bit more of a hobby now, but still not like a full-time gig. But and to do a video every week, I don't get to take a break, but it's still fun, and I do appreciate when people say stuff like that and go back and watch some of the old content and just enjoy some of the older stuff I've done. And I'm going to keep doing the old stuff too going forward. I'm not only doing new. So
Yeah.
I know Rob does the same thing, just kind of test what we like. We're not strapped down to only testing A, B, C, D. We can do whatever we want, and that's the way we like to be. We kind of like to be in control of what we do.
Yeah. And Derek, he likes flea market stuff. He likes stuff with voltmeters. He likes stuff with lots of lights. He likes cheap stuff because if it doesn't do what it says, his buddy Dick Rickles shows up, and yeah.
Yep. And if it does do what it says, then they sell a lot of them on Amazon or eBay or wherever,
Yeah.
and we get affiliate fees, and
Yeah.
so that's always good. El Fuego,
Oh, that's a
what is worse, paying $525 for a 225 HCCA or buying a bunch of old school amps in modern time?
I would say the latter, because at the time I think the 225, I still think it's like one of the best amps of all time, even though it didn't make rated. Like we said, the numbers don't always matter. That thing performed well, sounded good.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible amp, and it still is today. And they sold so many of them that
Yeah.
there's still so many really good examples out there of that amp.
Yeah, Derek got me too, man. He got me, and then he started making me do YouTube videos, and now here I am.
Well, it's like I tell everybody that enjoys what they do. I say, hey, share it. Don't depend on me to do it. And that's why Ryan over at Budget Gym started, bought an amp down, and he said, well, D, you can't do all the stuff that I want you to do. I'm going to do it myself. I said, well, more power to you, brother.
Yeah.
Do it. Because I sure as heck can't do everything myself. And I encourage everybody to, add some content, because I enjoy watching YouTube just as much as a lot of you guys do. And I like watching all the creators and stuff that I'm subscribed to. And I don't really even need real TV anymore. Or I say real TV, network TV, because YouTube is my network.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't like the commercials, which I know you don't, and I hear people complain, oh, this thing played 4 commercials. Well, some of the old videos are going back through and they're adding commercials in that we didn't even do. But the other thing is, if you do the YouTube Red, which is $10 a month, you don't have to watch commercials. So if it's worth $10 a month for you to get rid of the commercials, but not only do you get commercial free on YouTube, you also get YouTube Music. So it's more than just the one thing. But for me, the commercials alone is worth it to not have that, because then you can watch whatever video you want, no commercials. YouTube Red, look it up if you want to do that. We still get affiliate stuff when you watch our videos. They share the ads stuff with us even when you buy the $10 a month. So you're not like taking stuff away from us. But I encourage people, hey, YouTube is free, but the people that create content have to have some way to monetize that content. And that's how we're doing it, is through the ads. Even though we can't choose the ad that goes up, we don't know how long it's going to be. There's all kind of things that YouTube just kind of does. And we get our little percentage, they get their percentage. But if you don't like the videos, if you don't like the ads, then do the YouTube Red. It'll get rid of them.
Yeah, for sure. And then you can also do YouTube audio playlists with your screen off.
That's right. And that's a biggie too.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. I know Rob listens to his stuff all day when he's at work, and he can you just pull up what you want to watch, shut your phone off, and it's still playing on your Bluetooth headset earphones.
And I don't even mind the ads, so it's
yeah. Well, I mean, it's especially this time of year with all the political stuff, dude. It's worth $10. Just do it for a few months to get rid of that, and then turn it back off later.
You cut it on, and Bernie's like, here I am again, asking for your support.
And a lot of those you cannot fast forward either. You can't skip after
like,
3 seconds. It's like, come
Please
on.
no. I hate all you guys. Doesn't matter where you come from.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap up the show here and stick around for the after chat. If you guys want to talk BMX and talk about some of the other things that are going on in car audio, we will be glad to hang out with you for a little bit and talk about that. But as always, thank you for watching. Check us out, 12vtalk.com or 12volttalk.com. We have both. It will forward you to youtube.com/12vtalk. And you can check me out, Wilson Audio Labs, on YouTube. And I'll let Rob talk about his channel and his second talk show podcast that he does.
Oh, yeah, man. High Five Vega doing the 12-inch shootout. The first video got dropped Monday. The next video will be out next week. I got a few things to test out. But tomorrow I do a show called Reverse Polarity with Dean. We talk about a lot of nonsense and some car audio stuff. And it's just a good time. And then again, Friday, Kicker Unmasked. Be there or be square. What time? 5 Central.
I just dropped it.
There we
once
go.
again. You like that banner?
And if you're listening to this on audio, you've already missed it. You failed. I'm so sorry.
I'm sure they'll have it archived so you can go back and watch it after the fact, but you won't be able to win prizes and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
You won't be able to see our reaction when we see whatever they're going to release.
Yeah.
Big Dummies reactions all together. So it'll be fun. So make sure you check that out. Thanks as always, you guys, for watching us, supporting us. We got some show ideas coming up, Rob, in a few weeks. Hopefully we're going to do the one with some of the women of car audio. Is that what we talked about?
Oh, yeah. We've already got a couple guests lined up. I'm trying to get one more before we go. But
that'll be fun because, as you guys know, especially the ones that do YouTube for car audio, it's like 95% male, 5% female, sometimes even less for the female.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk to some of the ladies who are involved in the industry and find out, how it is to be a lady, female.
And we're going to take the heat for some of you scumbags that do scumbag stuff to women in car audio.
That's right. We'll take it. Be the punching bag. All righty. So check us out. 12 Volt Talk. Make sure you check us out also on your favorite podcast application. We'll be there and you can listen to us and not have to look at the big dummies.
Yeah.
So it might be better to watch this one on YouTube because we did the playback of the kicker video, and if you're listening to it on a podcast, it might not make as much sense. But anyway, if you're listening to it and want to watch us, you can do that too. So until next week or next time we come back, which may be a few weeks away, thanks again as always for watching. We will see you next time.
We out of here.
Peace out.
Jesse, no, man, I'm not going to make it this week. I just got so much going on. The kicker stuff's Friday. I'd had to get up early Saturday. I'm not going to be able to make it, buddy, unfortunately. What else did we have
I'm gonna
here?
remove our little banner here with our name because we don't. I think people know who we are.
Scary Meet and Eat is this Saturday. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all these that
SPN's
want to go,
bummer.
it's Saturday the 24th. You know, COVID kind of messed all this stuff up, but those of you who do want to show up, I think Bill was in the chat earlier. I think I seen him. Yeah, they're gonna do like a small get together. I think I'm not sure exactly what all they're doing, but
There is a Facebook group. If you do a search for OSS Fall Meet 2020,
yeah,
you can find it. I think it's a group where you could just request to be let in, and you can be let in. But yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be there. Rob and I had some big plans for this year, actually, with going to the fall meet and then going to SEMA. We were going to try to fit that all in to the same trip, but yeah, we can't do
Yeah.
that because there is no SEMA. But
well, I will tell you a little secret. If you had an interest in going to the meet, I would say go to the meet because, like, meeting Big D or me or whatever, that's okay. But the best part about going to those meet is meeting other people that are into cardio,
Yep.
and you become friends with them. You know, you'll be online chatting with them,
oh yeah,
and
and there's also, I mean, some of these guys have invested a lot of time and energy into their installs and putting the old amps in. And it's a lot of fun. You definitely want to check it out if you can. If you're in the area, there's no reason for you not to go. I heard some people couldn't travel from like California. I'm like, yeah, well, that should be understandable at this point. That
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to travel that far, but if you're in the area, it's not too far for you to drive. Make sure you check it out.
Plus Ed's going to be there. The third era. He's making the drive.
He
from-
is. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I saw him say that he wasn't going to make it.
Oh, did he? Maybe.
Yeah, I thought he said he wasn't going to be. That's what I
Oh.
was talking about because he's in Cali. But I could be wrong. Hopefully, I'm not. Yeah, let's go through and see if we can find any questions.
Tom
that we
met
missed.
Alma Gates back in '98. I did as well. She was cool.
Oh, speaking of Alma Gates, do I have it near me? Hold on, let me check.
I have what I have. That you guys can't see it here. Let me see if I can. There's a sign up top there. You see it focused in that acoustic.
Yep.
That's signed by Alma Gates. And she got a little message on it for me. Let's see if I get focused again. All right.
I don't know what I did with what I wanted to show you, but it was around here somewhere. It was actually a piece of the Bronco.
Oh yeah, did you get a piece?
Lynn Arnold gave it to me because I think he was one of the ones that worked on it. So he gave it to me at one.
I didn't know
think it was
that.
the meet last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was able to make it through TSA with it and everything. Actually, no, I think I put it in the box that JDR mailed me,
Oh, okay.
so I didn't have to go through. Did you hear Dean's story of going through TSA with the amplifiers? He said he got like strip searched.
To be fair, Dean looks a little sketchy.
He does, yeah. I mean, I could see. What's this
Yeah.
guy doing? What's he trying to make it through here with?
Why does he have so much energy?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh,
He runs
man.
like 25 miles a day or something. I bet his watch loves him.
Yeah.
My watch yells at me if I don't stand up 12 times a day.
In the garage now, trying to finish
There
up
you go.
the install. There you go.
Well, here's what I'll say. You guys that go and do the show, please, somebody who's there, take pictures. I mean, video is cool too if you can do some. But for me, just get some pictures that we can see because Rob and I aren't going to be able to be there, and I would love to see some experience.
Yeah. I'd love to go that one day, but I don't have plans yet to go.
Yeah, I don't have any plans yet either, but I would like to go as well. I'm sorry I'm yawning. I got up early this morning, so it's nothing to do with lack of interest here.
Old school. Yeah, man.
Yeah, Leon. Thank you. Thank you for the shout out and the $5. And you may thank us now for getting you into car audio, but wait until you spend some sleepless nights on eBay buying old gear. You're going to be cursing us for getting you back into car audio.
Yeah, no kidding. What was your question, Joe? Put it back up. I did miss it.
Yeah, I missed it too.
Yeah. Let's see.
Dean's in the house. I missed that.
Yeah, man. He's probably editing video right now.
There he is.
Yeah,
Party on,
probably.
dude.
Yeah. It's a busy. Think about how busy it is for Dean. It's a busy week for me,
Oh, I know.
and it's a busy week for you.
Yep. Zombie apocalypse will be over
I hope
next year.
so, man. I hope so. I'm
I
getting
love
tired of
that
it.
picture, Ken. That's a great photo.
Oh, remember the time Ken blew out my eardrums with the church horns? That was at the meet last year.
Oh.
He had the church horns on, dude.
Oh.
I don't even think he had them on that much power, but those things will freaking murder you, man. Those things.
I was digging the way he was using a cassette tape when I got in there and got the demo. I was
Oh,
like, he
yeah.
was still rocking a cassette tape. Old
Yeah.
school.
Ken's legit old school.
Legit. I
Yeah.
mean, some people are posers, but he's legit.
No, you done one US acoustics, didn't you?
The 1500 watt, which is the mic, I think, is the
Yeah.
one that I did. Then is that the 3500 watt one? Is that the big one?
It might be.
Yeah, he even said it. I know the mic was done. No, yeah, the US acoustics are rated accurately. So yeah, I just wouldn't expect to buy a 3500 watt amp and be getting 5000 watts, but you're going to get the rated power, and those are made by a former Z Audio engineer. So
Yeah.
it's good stuff there.
Oh, I forgot. Eric, he upgraded the Prius. Did you listen to his
I
Prius?
did last
That
year.
thing
I
was
was
freaking brutal.
I know. I was blown away. He only had like a 500.1 or something.
The 750, I think.
Oh, it was 750. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah, that thing was brutal. Ken said 80 watts on the horns.
Whew. But they were 120 dB sensitivity.
It was something, man. Those things are freaking insane. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yep. From the man himself, Kip. Almo is amazing lazy.
Well, and the other thing that hopefully Kip can attest to is, and I'm not sure if they're doing it this year at the meet. That would be a more of a Bill question, but last year we went out and had dinner, and we came back and we had a kind of a just chill by the fire kind of thing. Told stories and everything. That was fun.
That's always the best part.
It was
After
only like 10 of
hours,
us.
After hours is always and forever has been the best part of the OSS meets.
That's right, because we're either testing amps until 2, 3 in the morning, or we're listening to subwoofers in a soundproof room in the middle of the night.
Dude, freaking Chad's! I can't believe he sold that. That was crazy, man.
I would have had to lift that building up and take it to the next place that I live.
That was
spent
insane.
so much time and money in that building.
It was like 3 in the morning. We were just blasting on those.
Yeah, that was when Savard had just kind of come back into the scene, and they were showing off the High Q15, the High Q12, the High Q10, for some of the rap series, and so we hooked them all up and just went through them, and we were shaking his room, and I just couldn't believe it. He had a really cool setup. It was like a small movie theater that he'd set up into a top of a garage, but he had it so sound deadened that you could be like downstairs and you wouldn't even hear any of the bass upstairs. It was incredible.
It was fun. Every time at these meets, what people don't know is like me and Derek probably sleep like maybe 6 hours the whole weekend, maybe 8 hours if we're lucky.
Yep, it's lots of fun.
Yeah,
can sleep when you die.
That's how it is. Yeah, we need to get Kip and ask him how they they stole Alma away from the PPI.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good story.
That would be a good story. I'm sure he's got some meat on that one. Alrighty, gentlemen. Well, enough excitement for the middle of the week.
Yeah. Yes. How Fago remembers never
They will
forget.
not let me in that vehicle again because I asked them to do something that's very simple that breaks their whole vehicle. Can I just use your vehicle as like a your Bluetooth receiver? Can I just connect to your system and just talk to people?
Yeah.
Sure.
And then the test tones come out. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, then
What's
it's
going on?
all screwed up. I'm like, which button did you press, Luke? I don't know. Big D broke it.
Yeah.
That's all I hear the rest of my life to the day that I get buried in the ground.
Listen, the truth doesn't matter.
All these fake
the
news
story,
people.
The story, revisionist history has set in, and it doesn't matter what you say anymore.
Sometimes the lies just prevail, no matter how hard you try to prove them opposite.
Yeah.
You can't stop them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have gone on here quite long enough talking gibberish here at the end. Thank you guys always for watching. And don't forget, check us out Friday night.
Yeah.
October 23rd. Check out the new product announcements and also hang out with us afterwards. We're going to do a little commentary of what we saw.
Yeah.
And have a good time. Just hang out. Come join us if you can. We will see you then.
Later.
Have a good week. Peace out.
Whoa, we're still live.
Yeah, it's trying to end, but it's spinning.
Oh no.
In the broadcast.